My favorite horror franchise is far and away Evil Dead. I love how varied the series can be under different tones and styles, and its main villains, the Deadites, feel like a gold mine for fun and interesting horror. I really loved the 2023 outing of Evil Dead Rise, and was excited when I heard that it was successful enough to spawn more upcoming films in both 2026 and 2028. So now the first of those sequels is here with Evil Dead Burn from director Sebastian Venisek. Evil Dead Burn continues right where Evil Dead Rise left off, though you can easily watch this one without having seen Rise, and sees a new family being tormented by Deadites. Though unlike the family from Rise, this one is much more dysfunctional after the loss of their son in a car accident. This time, the Deadites are targeting this family for a specific reason, and soon enough, they have the entire family trapped, fighting for their lives. Much like in every Evil Dead movie, the Deadites are once again the highlight. They are zombie demons, more focused on torturing their victims rather than turning them or killing them. While there isn't any standout Deadite performance like in other films, each one is still fun to watch in their own right. Every item in the house feels like a weapon that the survivors or Deadites can use, and it leads to this very fun makeshift nature of combat in the film. You never know what household object is about to be used, or how it will be used, or where on someone's body it will be used. It's constantly stressful, which is exactly what Evil Dead is about. These Deadites are also the most aggressive of any of the films. They are incredibly strong, and that can lead to some really fun sequences, seeing characters get thrown into walls or floors of the large manor the film takes place in. It's also bolstered by some really excellent camera work and choreography. They leave the fights feeling fresh and unique, even if no grotesque moment is happening yet. But this movie is also packed to the gills with the gore and violence you come for in the Evil Dead franchise. This film has lots of tension when it comes to seeing something truly awful happen on screen. If you can't handle movies that deal with eye gore, mouth gore, or ear gore, steer clear of this movie. No body part is safe. I was constantly squirming or cringing at the nightmare scenarios our characters would find themselves in, so in many ways, I got exactly what I came for. But with that said, it does suffer from some unfortunate problems that hold the movie back for me a good bit. The largest issue is from the plot of the movie itself. For starters, it has some pretty major plot holes. While this is common in horror movies, it's a little too noticeable here. I never got the sense of isolation or dread that told me the characters were fully trapped in the environment they were, and it felt bizarre having the characters never really talk about escape as a feasible option. Then, because of the nature of the story this film is telling, I also thought the Deadites should have been a little more aggressive and active. I do appreciate that the film doesn't have characters summon the demons or be confused about what's going on, but it still doesn't fully solve the issues. Then the central hook of why the Deadites are attacking this family is never really used in any interesting ways, and feels more like a plot device to explain why some characters aren't just being torn apart. The film also suffers from pacing issues as well. The film starts really strong, but then it sort of meanders for just a short while, and while it did have me somewhat tense for what was to come, it also left me more confused about what had happened. I think this movie plays a little too fast and loose with the rules of the Deadites, so my confusion and frustration was edging out my interest and intrigue. While the rules for the Deadites have never been clear-cut, I still wish the movie took a little more time to explain them, especially with how often people become Deadites in the film, and the different reasons and time spans in which they turn. Once things really get going, the movie remains tense for a long time, but I also kept waiting for the next big thing to happen, and it never really came. What do I mean for the next big thing? Well, I wish that Evil Dead Burn was a little more distinct. I was waiting for one major set piece, or a crazy escalation in the third act that's common in a lot of horror movies. This film doesn't have a distinct identity that makes it more unique than the other films. The family angle is tackled much better in Evil Dead Rise because it centers on a Deadite mother attacking her young children, so this one being a family of adults doesn't feel as interesting. Then the third act left me pretty disappointed because it had a pretty rough visual effect and didn't lead to any interesting scenarios or scares. To top it off, the characters in this film are also the weakest of any of the film's casts. It's not because of the actors, but more so the characterization. Only the central protagonist is fleshed out, and even saying that is a bit of a stretch. While some might think it's a waste of screen time to learn more about characters who are just going to turn anyway, I still think it would have gone a long way in making me care more about this terrorized family. While this film doesn't tarnish or kill my excitement for the future of the Evil Dead franchise, it still doesn't give me much to latch onto that I don't get from other films in the franchise. I'm pretty lukewarm on the film as a whole, so for me, I think that you can probably skip this one.